L. Ron Howard wanted to start a cult.
L. Ron Hubbard.
That's 100% L. Ron Howard.
It's 100% L. Ron Hubbard.
It's 100% L. Ron Howard. 100%. What you gotta do is break him down. You gotta L. Ron Howard him.
That's not a thing. There's so much about Scientology except the guy's name. That's the easiest part of it. What was it? Would he invent Scientology like after he directed Backdraft in Apollo 13?
No, that was Ron Howard. I'm talking about L. Ron Howard.
Oh my God.
Guys, can we please stop?
I'm like sitting there watching it. I was like, that is like the cutest thing I've ever seen the whole thing through.
I love it. So is it L. Ron Howard or L. Ron Hubbard? Which one, Liz?
See, I really like the L. Ron Howard.
Yes,
and I'm really good at the L. Wrong Howard.
That's a good one.
Those are both like the favorites.
That is good. Well, I don't think we need to introduce you, Liz. I think everybody knows who you are for sure. It's an interesting sort of conversation. Guys, Liz and I had never spoken before last week. And we had a quick call, about 10-minute call. We grew up right next to each other. We were in the same building on a daily basis and probably didn't even know it. So I was so looking forward to having this conversation with you tonight, to compare our stories, where we're at, and then obviously share some information about your father, who I worked with. Not to the same level as Mark Headley, obviously. He worked with your dad a lot more, but of course your dad was, everyone knew your dad at Golden Era Productions, for sure. But there's so many things. I can't believe that you were in the Advanced Organization Los Angeles, AOLA. Guys, if you don't know where that is, that's on L. Ron Hubbard Way, one of the blue buildings that they're protesting in front of a couple weeks ago. And
right across from the garage.
Right across from the garage in the Fountain building, Fountain Avenue. And actually, you were telling me that your mom was the LRH, L. Ron Howard communicator, which is a position very high up in the org board. And my mom was the actual senior CS, which is the senior case supervisor, the person that programs the folders and directs the auditors on what to do with all the pre-clears and people getting counseling. But I couldn't believe you told me that. And you told me about climbing the tree outside too, right?
Mm-hmm. That's how I'd climb up to her. I'd climb up to her office because the trees used to touch the top of the building.
Right.
Now, I don't know if it's because of us kids that the reason that they keep them like below the 4th floor, but it literally was above the building. And then you just climb it and everything was fine. And of course, we were all so starved for food 90% of the time.
Yeah.
That we were very undernourished.
Right.
At least I was super underweight.
Yeah, no, so was I. I was tiny. Yeah. Did you remember the powdered milk they used to serve in the galley?
Yeah, I remember the honey with the pancakes too. I remember the we would get cottage cheese and my mom would tell me that it was just bumpy yogurt. No, it's not. No, it is not.
Wait a second.
And
do you like cottage cheese now?
No.
Oh, I love cottage cheese for some reason, but I think that's because my dad always had cottage cheese and he would put it on everything, and it was
I still love cow mac.
No.
Even the original with the vinegar. Like for some reason that tastes so good to me, and it also doesn't help that my mom continued feeding me, cow mag up until like every surgery I had. She's like doubling up on the cow mag.
Right.
Like, here you go right before bed. Here you go right before bed.
God, I remember just battling that, Liz. I remember just not wanting to have any, because I just did not like the taste. But, ironically, of the many things Scientology does wrong, cow mag's actually pretty good for you. With the vinegar, it's actually one of the few things I think that you could say, because the barley formula for children's horrible, not being breastfed by your mom and all that stuff. But you got to say, the cow mag's actually a pretty good thing, surprisingly enough.
It will flush your system, but at the same time, avoid the niacin. That's my biggest thing, everybody. Avoid the niacin.
Yeah. Did you do the Purif when you were younger, or what age were you when you first did the Purif?
I think I was. I want to say I was 7, because I had come to visit my grandmother, and my grandmother's boyfriend at the time smoked in the car. Right. And then my Aunt Cindy came to visit. And so all of a sudden they're like, oh, she must have tobacco in her lungs or something. She has something. And all of a sudden I needed to do the PRF, and it was great sitting in the sauna with my mom.
It's interesting. I asked that because I actually didn't do the PRF until I was like 25 years old. And I'm
How did
assuming
you
that
get
had
away
to do
with not?
yeah.
It was your mom. It absolutely was.
Oh, really?
It had to be, because my mom, every time they said I needed to do something,
Yeah.
I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was no ifs, ands, buts. Communication course, had to do it.
Right.
You know, supposedly had to listen to security. Well, that one I didn't do, because they hated us. Like, AOLA kids were treated so different in security's eyes than everybody else.
Really? Explain that one for me, because I have my own personal stories with security that as I mentioned to you, I couldn't stand them, but I want to hear your part of that. I'm interested.
So for me, like, I hung out with the Obolinskis. I hung out with the Housens. Like,
Yep.
we were all like this giant pack of kids because we'd grown up together. And then
Right.
all of a sudden, a new person came in, and their mom was at, I want to say, ASHO. But we were just kind of like, oh, okay, your mom's there. Yeah. Well, these are our parents. And, we were stupid. We were kids, and our parents had high positions,
Yeah.
on the board. So all of a sudden we somehow had some level up on everybody else. But then we were all playing, and I think we were playing kickball. Like, we had found a ball and we were just playing kickball.
Right.
And then all of a sudden the ASHO kid gets in, go ahead and go home. We all get carted, like, directly from security, holding pieces of our clothing directly to our parents. Like,
Interesting.
Your kid was doing this. And I'm like,
That's
yay.
fascinating to me. I never had a delineation between the different organizations. Actually, I didn't even really know what ASHA was. I just knew the building names, right? So I knew the what we called believe it or not, we called the biggest building with the left and right wings. We called that just the complex, even though it's actually referring to everything. We called ASHA. ASHO, I never had a name for that, actually. But I knew Lebanon Hall. And of course, AOLA was AOLA. But besides that, I really, it's funny. I guess, I must have hung out with you and other kids from AOLA, because, like I said, I knew Serge Obolinski. What's the other one that I did not like? You mentioned him the other day.
Sasha and Yuri.
Yuri, I did not like. Was not a fan of Yuri's.
Yuri was an acquired taste, which it took me a long time to acquire it.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was for lack of better words, I thought he was a dick.
Yeah.
I'm so higher than thou. My dad's the captain, and I play the flute. Sorry.
But I guess the advanced organization, or AOLA, was kind of the shit on that street for a long time. That's where the upper levels were delivered. So your mom being, like we talked, it was amazing, Liz, to go. I forgot about the pizza parties until you mentioned that on the phone.
Yeah, like, how many times was AOLA #1 and we got pizza and a movie?
Yeah.
And my mom would always rent me Into the Dragon by Bruce Lee. So after the movie, when she was doing the cleanup, I would sit there and watch Into the Dragon.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's amazing.
I hung out underneath the chair like a 12-year, I'm 12 years old now because I get to hang out under the chair.
Hey guys, by the way, just so you know, we know there's a ton of negative content about Scientology. Give us this moment, because like I said, Liz, you and I are catching up on things and remembering things. You actually brought back so many memories that I had there just by that 10-minute conversation that I'd forgotten about. I'm like, okay, I remember the movie night would be like, I remember calling my mom and going, hey, were you guys up stat this week? Because if it was, I knew I could come hang out get pizza and watch a movie with them, which was kind of like the highlight of the week in some cases.
Yeah, that was like the one thing to look forward to. Like pizza, are you kidding me? Because it was always good pizza, except from the receptionist. Yeah. The receptionist was a man, and he liked anchovies. I couldn't deal with the fish staring back at me. I could not do it. I couldn't do it.
I can't believe you remember that so well. That's amazing to me. That is so amazing. But I think about what you say about the AOLA kids, and that makes a lot of sense too on why I got to play baseball when I was younger. Because my mom being the senior CS, that's a pretty high position in the organization. She kind of knew a lot of the public Scientologists, including one of them that was a baseball player, an ex-Major League Baseball player, and that's actually who taught me how to play baseball. So I somehow was able to hang out with that guy, and he would take me to baseball games. I was once shagging fly balls at an Angels Detroit Tigers game down in Anaheim. So I got to spend quite a bit of time doing those things. And funny enough, I have a few memories of the Cadet Org, and I was there, but I was in and out of the Cadet Org so much because I had a hard time being there because of the strictness of it and the kind of enforced stuff they would do with work or I couldn't stand being there. It felt like I was cooped up or trapped in that what
you were trapped because it was a prison
yard, right?
Yeah. I like to call it the Lord of the Flies area.
Yeah, that was a great description.
You had the older kids that thought they were like I'm so big and bad, and and a couple of them would like beat up the littler kids and be like, yeah, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna do? I outrank you. I'm like, no, you don't. You're like a year and a half older than me.
And I remember, look, I was notorious with the security guards because I used to have a bat bag, a Mizuno bat bag. I had like 3 or 4 bats. I had like 4 or 5 baseball gloves that I collected. One of them was an old Dodgers glove. And I would actually walk around, and wherever there was grass on the complex, I would drop my bag out and start playing catch. And I would try to get public Scientologists to play catch with me. And apparently that was distracting from them doing Scientology. So security would come out there, grab my bag, bring in security office, shut me down. And then I would actually go back in security office, steal my bag back. And I would do this every day over and over again to a point where I was fighting security so much, it just got ridiculous. My dad had to kind of put an end to that because my dad was working at that time in Bridge Publications.
Okay, when it was right next to AOLA.
That's right, which is why I lived just off property. I actually lived in the building behind the parking structure. Tiny little like 500 square foot apartment where I slept in the kitchen. My little brother slept in the main bedroom because there was only it was almost a studio basically.
Why didn't they put you in the one directly across from the garage?
Because they weren't really a C organization, Bridge Publications, they weren't really a C organization org. I guess they didn't have a berth inside the complex, believe it or not. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because there was a couple of like the chaplain. The chaplain was at directly across the street.
Okay. Interesting.
And I was always like, why do they get to live like so special? They even got a TV. And I was like, I told Nana,
and we had a TV. My dad had a TV. That's my dad did have a TV, and I remember it always was a little bit of a guilt thing, right? Because I would stay up till 12 o'clock at night watching Star Trek, waiting for my parents to get home so I could see them because they were always working late. And at one point the TV was taken away from us, but my dad I think got away with a lot of stuff because he was in Bridge, and there's no way you could have a TV inside the complex, or at least I didn't think you could.
My mom happened to get us one. Well, my mom didn't get it. I got it for Christmas. Okay. And so she would put it in the closet, and then Sasha would come over and we would stand on each other's shoulders so that we could get the TV down, and then we'd get the VCR down, and we'd sit and we'd watch cartoons.
Yes, that's crazy.
And then I would get in trouble because we couldn't put the TV back.
Oh, so you get caught because of that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. But you said you were in the complex?
Yeah, we were in the complex for a long time. It was just my mom and I in the room. And then from there, we went down the street, and then she put in to go to where she could pay for her own housing.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Just like the housing
your dad was up at Golden Air Productions this entire time.
No, my dad started at Bridge, which is hilarious that you say Bridge because my dad started at Bridge.
What year do you know? What year did he go up to Golden Air Productions?
I think he went up to Golden Air Productions in 85.
Okay, interesting. 85. All right, right. I think my dad hit Bridge Publications right around that time. He was in Incom before, which is the
And my
church's
mom was in Income
was she?
before AOLA.
How have we not spoken before?
Right? Because I'm like, I bet you anything that we've probably met or rode bicycles together.
Yes.
Because we used to be in those big giant groups of all of us.
Yep.
And it'd be the Owalinskis and I, and then we're like riding. Like sometimes we'd ride to Stan's house, sometimes we'd ride to Thrifty's for the 25-cent ice cream.
And we used to collect the carts. Do you remember we used to get the shopping carts, turn them in so we could get our ice creams? Yep.
Yep.
What schools did you
Do
go to
whatever
when you
we
were a
had to
kid?
do.
Yeah.
So Pinewood Academy.
Okay, I didn't
That
go to
was the
Pinewood. I
first
went to
one.
the other one that's in Studio City.
Studio City.
Can't remember the name.
Studio City is
Carpenter.
oh God.
I went to Carpenter.
Okay, then I went to my mom used to always tell me it was Delphi,
Yeah.
but I looked and I went online. It's Mace Kingsley.
You went to Mace Kingsley?
Yeah. That's
Okay,
where my
so-
two front teeth got busted out by a bully.
Oh,
My
I'm sorry.
baby teeth
First of
were
all, sorry
busted
to hear that. By the way, if you were a Sea Org child at Mace Kingsley, you got bullied by the Scientology kids.
Oh yeah.
I got teased constantly, specifically from a kid named Brighton Goss, who ironically was a great friend of Danny Masterson's. But he used to tease me and say that I was so poor, I didn't have any money. You know, that's why I dressed the way I do and all this kind of stuff. And then I'd go kick his ass in sports. So I was like, okay, so these shoes that cost half the price of yours, but I can still outrun you. I'm not going to use any words for that, but
you know what the words he's thinking.
Yeah. Except he was really good at soccer. I was really good at football and baseball. No, that's crazy. Yeah, no, that's one thing I don't think anyone's ever spoken about. It was insane. If you were a Sea Org kid who somehow ended up at Scientology school, you were the low of the low. You really got treated badly. Not by the staff necessarily, but by the other kids for sure. It was kind of crazy.
It depends. Sometimes I know with the staff, like if they knew your parent and your parent had done them dirty, that staff member was extra nice to you. Like, yay, today's gonna be amazing.
Well, and actually, Leah Remini's mom worked at Mace Kingsley when I went there, and she was my counselor once or twice. And thank God she was a complete sweetheart. She was very nice to me. So, because I was always getting in trouble, as I'm sure you were too.
Yeah, I got many marks on my record.
What years did you go to Mace Kingsley, out of curiosity?
So I know I was at Pinewood until I was 5. And then I went 6 to 9 Mace Kingsley.
Okay, so we were there at the same time. Do you remember, do you have any recollection of any names of kids that were there at the same time as you, maybe older my age?
I know there was another Ferris there, that there was a boy Ferris, and his mom's name was Liz Ferris.
What?
And so, yeah, because I remember I had come into the class one day, and I wish I could remember his first name, but his mom was sitting there with him, and she's like, I said I was here for you. They called my name. And I was like, okay, stranger danger, like didn't know who this lady was. And then all of a sudden she's like, my name's Liz Ferris too. Good to meet you. And I'm like, this is so weird.
Unfortunately, I never got
and
that.
so I would never,
yeah.
I never forgot that day where she was like, my name is Liz Ferris too.
Right. That's crazy. That's something you'll remember for sure. That's something you'll remember for sure. And our age difference, I think we determined was about 10 years.
Well, I'm 43.
No. So, okay. It's about 5 years. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we were there together then. We must have been.
Yeah.
Must have been.
So we probably played, but because of our age difference, we never got each other's names.
Right.
But then,
exactly.
Robin Smith, his dad was going to marry my mom.
Okay.
And then he went to the RPF. So Robin Smith and I hung out a lot. And if anybody is listening in this chat can find Robin Smith or knows Robin Smith in the time period that we're talking, just let him know that I'm looking for him, and hopefully one day I'll find him.
That name sounds so familiar to me, Robin Smith. Do you remember any of your teachers' names while you were there?
No.
Okay.
I remember one had brown hair, and then one had like beautiful, like sandy blonde hair. And I was like, man, I should have known I was gay. Because, good Lord. I was like, her hair is so pretty. So pretty.
The way you describe that. Yeah, I only remember a few of my teachers there. Christian was one of my teachers, but I only remember him because he was the guy I quoted Clint Eastwood to when he threatened to kick me out of class. But I was eventually kicked out of Mace Kingsley, as I was eventually kicked out of Delphi. I think I went to, in a period of between the ages of 6 to 12, I think I went to 5 schools because I had a little bit of an issue with authority. And I've told my Delphi story once or twice, but that's crazy. Mace Kingsley. Wow. Now,
I got expelled
from go to
from
Mace Kingsley. Was that because you were an AOLA kid and they wouldn't pay the cadet org?
I'd gotten kicked out of the cadet org for fighting.
Okay.
And then plus, well, it was the last straw was me fighting at the cadet org, but they couldn't keep me inside the cadet org because I kept climbing the wall. And I wish I had been smart and gone to the cement, because I can't tell you how many times I like snagged clothes on the hooks at the top. But I definitely got really good at climbing.
Well, you know what is interesting, because you're saying if you went to Mace Kingsley, John O'Reese, actually Jamie Mustard's brother, also went to Mace Kingsley with us, and I think one or two other kids. It must have been the AOLA kids that were going to Mace Kingsley at some point, and I think they got a discount or something happened, because obviously Mace Kingsley costs money. None of our parents were making any money, so there must have been some deal that was cut there. Because if you went there, that's too much of a coincidence that we were all there at the same time. I have a feeling that was arranged that way.
Probably. I know that my mom reached out to her family, because her family is Silver Spooners. So that way I could go to a much better school. I had never been to a public school until after my mom left AOLA.
Really? Okay.
Never. I seriously felt like a freak the first day. I was like, man, all these kids don't talk proper English. Like, is this something weird? Like, because they would talk like weird slang. Yeah. And I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
And,
well, did you, and we're gonna jump over here quickly. Do you remember when your dad left in 1984? And please, if any of these questions are delving too
my
deep,
parents had separated when I was 3. They separated when I was 3.
Okay.
So as far as I knew, he had a different birthing. We had a different birthing. That was just how it was supposed to be. Okay. And then, so when my dad left, my mom was pissed because he was paying her $5 a week to help contribute to raising me. Because, Sierra members make so much money. Yeah. But with his $5, as soon as he went to gold, it all stopped.
Completely stopped.
And then my mom would report him and KR him, and I would hear about it. And she's like, your dad's a loser.
Did you have interactions with your dad when he would come down for the events?
Yeah.
You did? Okay. So he would still spend time with you then?
Yeah, he would pick me up from stands multiple times. He would whistle at me in the tree, like when I'd get caught in the tree from my dad. It was that 2 whistle, just double whistle back to back. I knew my ass was grass.
No, but that's good. He got to see you when he came down and stuff like that. At what point did you lose communication? Because obviously, and I've watched some of your videos, but obviously not all of them. I think you worked at Celebrity Center. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I did work at Celebrity Center. That was my location.
Into the Sea Org? You were obviously a cadet up until a certain time, or at least.
So originally, I had signed my, going to gold, because my dad had sent me all the paperwork and I had sent it back to him. So as far as I knew, what I was committing to was Golden Era Productions.
Interesting.
Because
when you signed your Sierra contract.
Because I loved to sing and my dad was already there. So it gave me an in.
Right.
And so then I was told by the recruiter when I went to an event and that, oh, don't worry, we know that you signed with gold. It'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. You're just going to sign it again. And you, after your EPF, which is a state's project force, for those of you that don't know, you'll go to gold. I was like, okay, no big deal. I'm working at the Manor Hotel doing,
How old are
you
you?
know, my
How old are
EPF
you
there.
at this
I
point?
am 17,
17.
just
Okay.
no, about to turn 17.
Okay.
And so, babe, hold on one second. Super Pub, thank you so very much for the 5 super chats. I don't have the ability to click. Carrie, you just gifted 50 memberships.
Yeah, I just did that.
Okay. Just making sure you knew what you did. Okay.
That's okay. Honey.
Okay.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay.
Oh.
Sorry about that, Sterling. Go
No,
ahead.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right. So you're 17 when this is happening. You finish your EPF. You're working at the Manor.
I start at the Manor, and all of a sudden I'm told, just kidding, you're not going to Golden Area. You're going to go to housekeeping for a little bit just to cover someone because we're short a person. I was like, okay, no big deal. I don't mind what I do as long as I end up there. And
Right.
if you need help somewhere, that's fine. So I did that for a little bit until the Manor has and I had gotten to a screaming match. And I mean, full blown, we're sitting in HCO screaming at each other.
Wow.
And then Renee Duzak came in, and she knew me from AOLA. She knew my mom.
Yep.
You know, she knew us very well. And she walks in and she's like, this is not happening. This is not how we treat people. You no longer have her. And she now belongs to CC Network.
Oh, wow.
And from then on out, I was Renee Duzak's little bitch.
Interesting. Cool. Okay. And Renee Duzak was in Celebrity. Oh, okay. Is this before Celebrity
she was
Center
at
was
AOLA.
renovated?
This was after.
After the main big renovation. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
So,
okay. Because I was up at I think at Gold at this point, and I really the only memories I have of CC or Celebrity Center was when I used to be in the CEO, and I'm assuming you were in the CEO at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I learned how to make rocks there, or mud balls that would turn into rocks.
Do you remember the big? To clarify, everyone, the CEO. That's how everyone referred to it there. It's the Cadet Estates Organization. Really, it was the people in charge of handling children at the time. But the Cadet Org and the CEO is where the very young children, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, Liz, is where the very young children were staying. And there was a playground in the backyard. They had showers. They had a whole dining area and kitchen. And that's where the younger generation was when we were cadets. And that building was right across from Celebrity Center. It's now what is the pavilion and parking lot. And we used to actually escape from there when I was a kid. We would escape from the CEO, jump the wall, and we'd go play in a ravine in between Celebrity Center and the CEO, which used to just be a big ravine there. And we would tie rope swings.
We also used to ditch out of CLO if you were an AOLA kid, and we'd go to the pool.
What?
Remember the pool that was like 3 blocks away?
Yes.
That had the below area with the glass where you could see people swimming. Yeah,
I used to skate to that. I used to skate on roller skates to that thing. Yeah, I remember that. And do you remember escaping to Mayfair Market to buy sugar? Yeah.
I would go there to get Haagen-Dazs ice cream, coffee, because that's what they had across from the general store. And for some reason, that is my jam when it came to ice creams, and it still is.
You were sophisticated at a very young age if you were having Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream.
You remember the general store across from AOLA?
Yes, George's General. Yep.
Yes. So that store held only Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream. That was the only ice cream that they had. In the little pints.
Yeah.
That's it. So that's all I knew existed. Any other ice cream was gross and disgusting. So I have been in love with Hanson's root beer and Hanson's grapefruit, because you can't forget about those guys.
Nope.
Ever since got my first one in George's General Store, because it was so much better than the milk that we got at breakfast.
Oh, yeah. So much better. Yeah, and I also used to buy my Bazooka Joe gums with the little comic books there too. He would have a
fake cigarettes.
Yeah, that's right. The fake cigarettes too. That's right. And the rock pop.
So we could look like our parents.
Yeah, because they were smoking like chimneys. My
My
mom
dad
used to send
definitely.
me down the hallway in AOLA to pick up cigarettes from the vending machines. Do you remember the vending machines that used to be in AOLA?
I do. Do you remember
Yeah.
the payphones that used to be at Asho?
No. Tell me about
So
those.
you walk in, you go past the reception area and you
Yeah.
turn to your left and there's that weird hallway.
That goes all the way down?
That's where the payphones. Yeah, that's where the
Oh,
payphones
yes.
used to be.
Yes, there was a little vestibule and then a glass door that went to the bridge. Yes.
Yes.
I remember that.
I used to stack the phone books so that I could call my Nana
No
from those
way.
payphones. Like literally I'd be standing on every phone book that was in each one of the little drawers just so that I could be tall enough to call my Nana.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Now I'm like, that's psychotic. I could have fallen and snapped my neck, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Just for a phone call.
Well, just, but in those days, those things were built like brick shit houses. You would just hold onto the phone and it wouldn't break. You would just swing.
Right? It's like, yay!
Yeah.
We're so little. Yay!
I remember I used to love running down that bridge, going through those glass doors and hauling ass down the bridge as fast as I could. Because if you fall, you just get a little bit of a carpet burn. But that was one of the things I used to love doing. Oh my God, you're bringing back.
Do you remember when they painted AOLA?
When they painted it?
Yeah, when they were painting it and the whole staff had to do it. Do you remember
No,
that?
I think I left before that.
Okay, because
Yep.
that was the one and only time that my mom cut my hair like short because I had gotten a blue, like full on. Sasha and I were messing around and he just nailed me with some paint and I had a blue stripe down the center.
That's awesome. That's
then
amazing.
my
I
mom
wish I
took
could have
me
seen
the
that.
hair.
No, I think I left. I left in '91. I think. Have you seen that picture that I
Yes,
posted?
you were still there. You were still
Well-
there because my mom left in 90.
Well, maybe I just don't remember them painting blue. Oh, wait a second. Wasn't there
It's the same
point when
color that's
AOLA
painted now.
was a different color?
Yeah, AOLA was white, and then they changed it to blue. When we were
Okay,
kids,
so maybe I
it
was there. I
white.
just don't remember it. It's funny how we
Yeah,
remember
it was
different
that
things.
that
Some things the
funky
same, but
white.
some things different.
Yep, and then they painted it blue, and
Yeah.
it matched the rest of the buildings.
Oh, got it. And that's before they changed the color of everything to a different color blue.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So I just don't remember the painting, but I'm sure I was there then. That's crazy. I was related to the Housens, right? Because I believe my Aunt Griffey married one of the Housens, and the Housens were redheaded, right?
No, Hausen was
What?
brunette. What? She had, most of the Hausens have like that brown curliness.
Okay.
Sorry.
And,
What
well, I guess
was
it
the
could be
son's name?
Auburn.
Do you remember?
Philip? I'm thinking
I'm
Philip
trying to
because it
remember
was
his name. I
Mike,
knew him really well at the
Mike
time,
and
obviously.
Katie and Mike Hausen,
Yeah.
and that was their parents. And
Mm-hmm.
then there was Molly, and I thought his name was Philip, but he went by Phil.
Interesting. Okay. I'll have to try to remember the name. There was one other Hausen that I knew that had that I just can't remember. Do you remember Erica Blair?
No, do you remember Echo?
No. Who's Echo? God, I'm loving
Echo,
this.
one of the girls, one of the younger girls that their parents were I can't remember what their parents were, but she was blonde hair and her hair was like white blonde when we were kids. Now, has most of the hair colors changed? Yeah, because Katie Hausen changed her hair like 700 times.
She did.
It could
Okay.
be, yeah, it could
I
be
don't
like
remember
purple
Echo.
now
Do
or
you remember
black.
Kiara and Laura LaServe?
The serve sounds familiar, just like Noelle. Do you remember Noelle, the one that went into? We were talking about Noelle for a little bit. She's the
Noelle
one that crashed
Duzak.
into the pole. Yeah,
Yes.
And
I
that
remember her vividly.
mangled
She had
her.
jet black hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
yeah.
mangled her nose real good.
Did she really?
Yeah, she
Ooh.
got her face was not PTS for someone said did Liz see PTS for life? Met a man who knew Liz's dad. Yes, I did hear about that. Someone basically he was outside of one of the orgs and he asked the person, "Do you know Bob Ferris?" And he said, "Yeah, I know Bob Ferris."
Oh, interesting.
You know, And I'm like, tell me more, tell me more, tell me anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be real, like most of my memories of my dad, like here's the hard part. I didn't
Yeah.
know what year my dad was born. I knew his birthday was November 23rd because his sister told me. They didn't celebrate birthdays for our parents inside there. Or if they did, we weren't invited.
Right.
So I didn't know when my dad's birthday was. And so because of all this, I also found out he was born in 1950. Didn't know that.
Interesting.
So yeah, anytime
gonna-
someone knows him, I'm
I'm gonna
like,
bet.
tell me.
Yeah, that's so similar to my dad. Because I realized when I left, Liz, I didn't know anything about my dad. He never talked about himself. And then I go to a couple family reunions, and he's got 3 wonderful sisters that I love to death. And they downloaded his whole history. I mean, I realized I knew nothing about my dad, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Which was
Yeah,
crazy.
or they
I knew
say
everything about my stepmom who raised me, Barbara. She used to talk about herself all the time. I mean, I loved it. She would tell me about her days in New York and Washington Square Park and Woodstock and everything. My dad didn't share a single thing. And then I found out from his sisters, who are just amazing people. I found out all his history. I was like, oh my God, that's like fascinating, right? Like, I don't know if that's a cult thing though, not talking about yourself like that, because your dad did the same thing is kind of shocking to me.
My dad did the same thing, but my
Yeah.
mom also treated me like, never spoke to me like she was like my mom.
Really?
Like I didn't call my mom. When was the first time you remember calling her mom?
Well, so I called my mom all the time. I even called my mom once when John Travolta was in her office and he picked up the phone. My mom was really good about that. She and you can even talk to my little brother Nathan about that. Like, again, this is one of the reasons why I want to speak to you, but it's always fascinating to me how different parents act. They're all in a cult. They're all brainwashed to some degree, and we'll get into the fact, we'll talk about you reuniting with your dad and different thought processes I have about that. But one thing I do find interesting is in the family lottery, I think I did well because I don't remember a day where my mom or my dad treated me anywhere outside normal. There was never conditions. They never used the word in turbulation and theta conditions. I didn't have to do any of that as a child, ever. The first time I ever did any Scientology ethics was when I got into the SEA organization or the EPF and then in CMO PAC. So my mom was always open. I could call her anytime, and I did. I always called her because she was the person I'd go to if I needed something, if I needed help or something like that.
Yeah,
so you say your mom was not that way. She was tough.
She was not.
Yeah.
She was not. She was basically like heavy-handed. If she had a bad day, I would have somehow done something wrong, like folded something incorrectly, or maybe I didn't tuck in my bed corners properly. Whatever it had to be, every time it was something different. And it always ended up with, I'll get your TRs in, or I'll give you a reason to cry.
And I'm sorry to hear that. I am. Yeah. It's fascinating to me. It really is, Liz. Like I hear Reese's story as well. Kelly Copters. It's just unbelievable to me. I guess it really depends on the person, right? Like to what extent they'll take Scientology and abuse it. Not that it's not already abusive, but they'll then take it another step and abuse it on their own child to some degree. Now I know I think you're talking to your mom now and forgiveness, and I think that's all a wonderful thing, and hopefully you've had that discussion with her. But it is fascinating to me, the types of parents that use this sort of control factor on their own children because it's available to them, and to what degree they do that. I guess I'm just a little bit lucky that I didn't have that. And
yeah, you definitely, if you didn't have that,
why.
I'm going to steal your words. You won the parent lottery. Because a lot of us, like I know the Housens. Now the Housens, on the other hand, they were nice as hell.
Right.
Like I always thought she won the parent lottery because her mom and dad were just the nicest people ever. But at the same time, some of us got lucky and some of us definitely.
Yeah.
If we were picking our parents, then I must have been Charles Manson or like Jeffrey Dahmer in a
It's not
previous
your fault.
life.
Trust me. You got what you got. Because, you know, like even though the horrible situation right now that you and I have is I think we both have a love for our dads, our fathers. And it sucks that we don't have them in our lives. And there is an apology that needs to come from them. There is a degree that they need to confront that what they brought us into was not the best situation or scenario.
Yeah.
But my heart's open for my dad to come back in, because I, more than anything, to be unselfish, I want to see him finish his life in a happy position. And I know that's not going to happen when he's in the Sea organization. It's just not going to be. They're going to work him to death. They're going to do what they did to Rosemary, Mike's mom. It's going to be a horrible scenario. And I would rather your dad be out and spend time with you, and my dad be out and spend time with me for the last part of their life. So at least they can pass happy.
They can enjoy it.
Yes.
Yeah, they can at least enjoy something. If they want to garden, if they want to read a book, if they want to write a novel, hell, if they want to sit on the beach and scratch their ass, here we come, you know. But as long as it's something other than digging ditches or being someone's, you know, punching bag, whether it's physical or emotional, you know, they're both happening in there. Yeah. And so at 74 years old, how many things can my dad fix anymore?
Absolutely.
Like, he was wicked smart, but there's now computer parts in it. So, and I know they weren't letting him leave to go do some college classes.
No, they weren't. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's still going to be a little bit of stuff, but you're right. As we know, Scientology does not progress with the times. And yeah, I mean, again, he was a brilliant guy. So just so I can make sure I say it before we're done, Bob Ferris was one of the people that everyone liked. He's that anomaly that I think every group has, that guy that everyone likes and has no reason to hate. And that has a lot to do with, he just never took anything to a cruel level. He didn't see it fit to hurt other people. He was never one of those party members like in 1984 that would enforce everything. He was just a good guy who wanted to do his work. And I really wish he had spent more time with you. I wish that you didn't have the scenario you have now, where I believe his death was even faked. Is that right?
I was just flat out told he was dead. Like, you know, because we called the Golden Era phone number. You called that number, and that's the only way you can talk to your parent.
Yeah.
And then you're put on hold for a little bit, and then, you know, she just came back on and she just blurted it out, like, you know, and, you know, your dad's dead, just so you know. And I'm like,
yeah.
And then click, I'm like, oh, okay. Told my mom all about it. And my mom's like, you know, maybe he's buried on the property. Because, of course, I'm thinking, where can I go visit a grave? Because, you know, I'm thinking that he actually was buried somewhere.
How much family did your dad have outside that are not Scientologists?
All of his family is not Scientologists.
Does he stay in touch? As far as you know, does he stay in touch with them?
No.
Okay.
They all thought he was dead. Like, each and every one of them thought he was dead too.
Right. And see, that's the tricky part. My dad's family does stay in touch with him, so I get information from them about him, which is fantastic. Now, saying this on a live, I don't know if that's going to stop, but no, but that's oof. See, I want to make this point clear, because look, I'm having an awesome time talking to you. Again, you know what? Someone had mentioned in the chat this documentary called The Program. I don't know if you've seen this yet. It's a Netflix documentary about teens that go into Reformation camps and Reformation schools. And it's a fantastic documentary. It is vile and nasty. It's so similar to Scientology, because you get these adults that get an unusual amount of power without any oversight. And the way they treat these preteens and teenager kids, men and women, boys and girls, is horrific. It's horrible to watch. And you just, you know when it's a high control environment, or a cult like Scientology, if you have an inclination to be nasty, I think it only enhances or puts on steroids that type of behavior. But also Scientology itself. Look, there's no question that if something happened to your dad, or my dad, they would go out of their way to let them pass and not let us know so we can't see them and talk to them. It is one of the most disgusting things that Scientology does that doesn't really get mentioned that much. But take Mike Brown, for instance. If Mike Brown's family hadn't contacted him while he was deployed overseas, and his mom had passed away her first stint in the hospital, he never would have gotten to see her again. And they would have been happy with that. And that is one of the most disgusting parts of Scientology, OSA, and whoever now controls that arm of Scientology. It is disgusting. They would be happy to have us children of Scientology not see our elderly parents ever again. And they would be content with that happening. And that's one of the things that Liz really discussed me. It's one of the reasons why I want to talk to you. I think we're very similar and we're in the same position in regards to that. And my wishes to you is, God, I hope that, if any chance, if you know his location and you need someone to drive with you to go find your dad, because he's out somewhere, I'll drive with you there, because I think reuniting and completing that family circle but before people pass away is vitally important for our health and for their health in the long run. I really do think that.
Yeah, because I would absolutely reunite my dad with his family. I would even suck it up and, because they don't like me. And I would suck it up and go be around one of his sisters that,
Not your favorite person?
No, she's unique.
Unique's a very polite word. Thank you for.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, you know what?
Unique.
I do think we need to talk about. I do think we need to do talk again about some stuff, if that's okay with you. But I did not want to skip this. I wanted to know a little bit about what you got in your background here.
Okay.
So first, because we're getting to know each other, guys. So remember, Liz and I have talked 10 minutes on the phone in her 43 years on this planet and my 47 years on this. That's it. 10 minutes on the phone. Pokemon. I only know about Pokemon more recently because there's, I'm friends with a lot of families that have kids that are of the age of where Pokemon was popular. How did you get into Pokemon?
As funny as you're totally going to laugh. So the love of my life is a nanny.
Okay.
And the giggles. You did get a request for a hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's funny.
She might have to sit up. But so she's, watching this little girl who loves Pokemon.
I saw it.
She keeps coming and telling me about Pokemon. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, and then I start looking it up and I'm like, oh, the cards. And they're worth this. And suddenly I just dove head first into it. And I was like collecting cards, doing the, trying to complete sets. And all of a sudden I'm looking up all the little details of each little character. And I'm like, all right, I'm hooked. It's got me. And I feel like a kid every time, like I open a pack and I'm like.
I love that, Liz.
Yeah.
I love that. I think part of our
literally.
experience, I think it's stunted growth. It's arrested development because I also have a very childlike enthusiasm towards so many things that I do. When I play kickball, and I play kickball today, love kickball. When I play kickball, when I play any sports, people always laugh because I just can't stop giggling when I play these sports. And I think that's part of some of the stuff we missed out on when we were kids, just the pure joy. We did stuff. We did play kickball as kids, but we just didn't get enough of it or as much of it or have it be so much fun. And still this day, I get a kick out of it. But so I love your Pokemon story. So I'm going to come back at you with my Yoshi story. So almost for the same reason. So my generation didn't have Yoshi. We had Super Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong, all those things, right? Okay, so a friend of a family has a kid, and he got me turned on to Nintendo Switch, which is an unbelievable device. If you haven't gotten one, it's fantastic. And so we started playing the Yoshi game on there. Now Yoshi started in the, I think, early 90s, all when I was working at Golden Era Productions or in the C organization. So I played video games for a little bit up until like 1989, I think. But all these new characters came out after. So I'm a giant fan of them now. They're a lot of fun. And so I actually attach a Yoshi to every one of my sports bags. So my volleyball bag, my softball bag, my tennis bag all have a little Yoshi attached to them as like a good luck charm. Because Yoshi also is the fast guy. That's his skill when you play Mario Tennis. I don't know if you ever played Mario Tennis on the Switch. But yeah.
I've not.
That's my little fun childlike thing that I love. Plus, he's adorable. Come on, let's be honest. I mean, not Pikachu adorable, but kind of adorable, right?
So the fact that you play softball cracks me up because a lot of people don't play softball. And let me tell you, even though it looks that little curve of the ball going up in the air looks like it's super easy, everybody. Yeah, to be able to hit that out of the park, not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah. And you still got to play, and everything else is the same as baseball after that. Everything else, you still got to field the ball. You still got to, and guys, it's not a softball, just to be clear.
No,
it's
just a bigger ball.
Yeah, it's less dense. It's just less dense, so it's a little lighter. If you size the baseball up to a softball size, it would be very heavy. The softball's just lighter, but man, you ever be hit by one of those, it's not gonna feel good. How are you a Yankees fan?
So, when my mom left the Sea Org, I spent a lot of time with the person that they'd always called my godfather. This was a friend of the family, lived, like almost directly across because my grandma's house was in a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
And so it was like straight across the street was my godfather's house. So he was a huge Yankees fan and used to tell me stories about like Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, all of the greats. And he would sit there and explain, why we need to keep the history alive and why we need to, really look at who's inducted into the Hall of Fame and yada, yada, yada. And so he just kept pushing it so much that the first game I ever went to was Oakland A's versus the Yankees. And the Yankees smashed the A's.
That'll do
and
it.
So it was like, all right, I got it. I'm a huge Yankees fan now. I got this. And
that's amazing. Did you see it in the Coliseum or Yankee Stadium?
I saw it in Oakland Coliseum.
Okay.
I've been to the I did go to the original Yankee Stadium before it went into rubble.
Yeah.
The new one I'm not a huge fan of. It's too big.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Were you surprised? Because I went to the old Yankee Stadium as well. I could not believe how small the aisles were.
Small.
Right?
Or
how
like the chairs are so like on top of each other where it's like your leg is absolutely touching my leg. And it's like a bad airline that is just trying to pack in too many people.
It's a bad airline with a good movie, right?
True. Good movie. Yeah. Really good movie.
Because it's the Yankees. Well, I can't believe you've been to there. I've been to the old A's Coliseum as well. I went to the 1989, 87 All-Star game there.
Okay.
Which was awesome. I had a chance. If I had jumped the fence, which by the way, I was so good at, I don't know why I hesitated, but this was with a friend, again, my mom, he was a public Scientologist, and he took me up to Oakland. He had tickets to the All-Star game. If I had jumped the fence, Liz, if I had just jumped the fence, I would have met Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio. No, not Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle.
I would have jumped the fence.
Right. It's one of those regrets I have. It's one of those things I'm like, I'm never going to get a second chance. What happened? Sometimes I go, what's wrong with me? I had a chance to meet and take a picture with Kobe Bryant a year before he passed. He offered me, he said, hey, do you want to take a picture with me? I had something to do with my work. I was driving something. I ended up driving him to a location and he's the nicest guy. And he was like, Sterling, would you like to take a picture? And for whatever reason at the time, I just wanted to be more professional. So I said no to that, and I'll forever regret it because it's one of the greatest basketball players of all time. That's now on my list of things that I regret.
That you regret?
Roger Federer offers to hit with me. I don't turn him down. I'm hoping not, but yeah, no, those are one of the So yeah, I'm gonna regret that for a long time.
There was, I think the best regret that I have is a friend of mine before Pink got super big when she was just on her first CD.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine was like, I have backstage passes to meet this new star, Pink. You should totally go with me. And I'm like, listening to her music, and I'm like, she sounds rude, dude. Like she doesn't even sound cute. Like she just sounds like she a jerk. And so I just passed it up. My friend had a great time. And then all of a sudden I see what Pink really looks like. And I'm all,
darn it.
So, and then of course, like now as I'm older, I'm like, Pink is totally on the, hall pass list.
Yeah.
Just in case there's ever I'm not a hall pass really type person, but
she's on your hall.
If
hall
I
pass
suddenly
list.
did,
you have
she
one.
would be on the hall pass.
No, okay. I mean, yeah, and you said you have a Babe Ruth, guys. Please let me know, everyone in the chat. You must know who Babe Ruth is. But in the chat, just for the fun of it, Liz, let's just see who knows the other names by which Babe Ruth went by. He had two nicknames essentially. So if anyone in the chat knows it, go on, throw it in there. I'd be interested to know if you guys nailed that. Liz and I talked about it right before we went on. So let's see who knows about that. I'm sure Matt from SPTV will. But you have Henry Aaron as well. Is that because was your grandma talked about Henry Aaron, or what was it?
It was basically all of my baseball that I know from the original days of baseball, and like Cobb Hill and all of that all came from my godfather, because he would sit down and just show me pictures and his cards. That's what got me into collecting baseball cards. And then when I was a smart kid and brought some of my baseball cards with me when I joined the Sea Org, I thought that was brilliant because these were my pride possessions.
Yep.
Yep.
Nailed it. And there's a couple of other people that nailed it as well. I don't know it was the Great Bambino. I think it was just the Bambino. Am I correct? Yeah.
It was actually, no, he went by the Great Bambino. He went by Bambino. Uh-huh.
What he did not go by is the infamous mafia family Gambino.
No.
But thank you so much.
No, but he did for a long time try to drink, and he would wear those giant furs and be like walking around like,
yes,
I'm a pimp.
He was bigger than life. He was actually quite an amazing. I don't know how good he was as a person. I would say Henry Aaron was the better person, but you never know. A lot of it's rumors. So
yeah, from what I've heard about Babe Ruth, I respect his baseball skills, but I do not respect him as a husband or a father. But he was an amazing baseball player.
Okay, so Liz did, thank you, Miss Sunrise Dawn. Liz did tell me her name of her dog, which is kind of how that subject came up, which is awesome. Yeah. Liz, my favorite my favorite baseball player of all time is Willie Mays.
Okay.
The Say Hey Kid. Just because of, he plays outfield, which I like. And, he's a speed guy. I wish I had the power of Willie Mays. I do not. But he was one of my favorite players growing up, and still I kind of use his number whenever I play if I can get it on my jersey. Do you have any of his cards?
No.
No. Okay.
None of my cards, none of those original cards survived. Like when I left the Sea Org, none of that came with me.
Oh, that sucks.
Just like some of my pictures, I had to get a new passport because they didn't give me my passport back.
Did they not?
No. Wow, I didn't get it back. I had to actually order a new one and state that one was lost. And
so next time we talk, I would love to talk about your leaving story, how that happened, how you adjusted, if that's okay. I really want to know about that. I'm fascinated by how people leave and then what they do right after and how they start decompressing from everything. Most people didn't have passports that I knew. Where I was at Golden Art Productions, the only people that had passports were the event crew. So that was about 50 or so people because they would travel to the event sites. I never had a passport until I left, obviously, until 2007. Actually.
Yeah, and I had a passport because, I traveled internationally quite a few times when I was a kid with my family.
Oh, did you really? Wow. Oh, right, because your mom's family had money.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, look at this. Was always a shoeless Joe Jackson. But anyways, hey, do you want to bang out some questions real quickly, and then we'll definitely
Absolutely.
continue if you want to do it again. I would love to do it again.
I would too, because then we still have to talk about why I'm a Penguins fan.
Yes, no kidding. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna guess because it's Mario Lemieux, but maybe not.
Just hold it up for a second.
Okay. I'm told to hold it.
It's
I do what I'm told.
Dobby, Dobby,
Yes.
or Dobby?
Okay.
Dobby.
Good. Okay.
Yes.
So I originally, so I love hockey.
Yeah.
I love how brutal it is. Like, we used to play like running fake hockey
Yeah.
when we were kids with sticks, and we'd pretend it was like, or some kid would get like the golf clubs and we'd run around doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I originally heard about the Penguins because they were the actual penguin.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, penguins? Penguin hockey? You mean like they wear tuxedos and play hockey? And yeah. And then I had to look it up, and I've been a Penguins fan ever since.
Which is awesome. That's what happens when you grow up in a cult. You don't understand some of the references to things.
Mhm.
No, that's amazing. That's so cool. I'm not a big hockey fan. I've been asked that by several people. There's a lot of Canadian subscribers that follow SPTV, including Matt, the MAA of SPTV. I mean, I do like hockey. I played roller hockey as a kid. We used to play at the ranch. I loved roller hockey, except for when you got checked on the asphalt. Didn't feel so good, but I don't think it felt great on the ice either.
Being checked on the ice doesn't feel good either.
Yeah, right.
Like I used to justify it and be like, I'm already hurting, so I might as well just lay on the ice for a minute. Like I might as well just suck it up and just lay there for a little bit.
Well, I do have to, because you showed something, I have to show this. I showed this to you before. I have a very close friend named Lee. He's an awesome guy, and he was cleaning up his place, and he sent me this awesome little thingy here, which is the bobblehead Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon. When I was a kid, if there was one go-to toy, whenever I found a Millennium Falcon anywhere, I would run around flying that thing like crazy. I loved the Millennium Falcon. There was nothing better. Not even a fan of TIE fighters. It was just the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, unbelievable. Loved it so much. But you found one recently. You were telling me.
I did. $5. It was an original one that had the sounds,
And can't you pull off the back of it so you can get inside and put people in the seats? Oh, where is it? Why don't you have
put
it
them in the
behind you?
seats? Because one of the children had, needed the Millennium Falcon.
Okay. Oh, that's important. That's more important for sure.
And I'm pretty sure that the missus just went to get it.
Hey, I would.
It is
love to see
missing
it.
like 2 pieces. Oh,
Yeah.
She went and got it.
Oh, there we go. Oh
So-
my God, check that out.
The original one, and it's missing the little twist top, which is easily ordered. But other than that, hold on.
It pops open in the back. Oh, that is so cool. Oh
And
my
it is
goodness.
the full-on seating arrangement. $5. I was like,
It has fire in it.
it did have a spider living in it, but that's fine.
It has spider web in it. Okay. Well, hey, it came with a creature. You're lucky.
I was like, well, at least it wasn't Jabba the Hutt. We're
I'm
good.
so
Yeah,
sorry.
right. All right.
No, a full spider.
Spider the Hut. All right, here
Yeah,
we
Spider the
go.
Hut.
Degraded Daughter. Has anyone else watched the Netflix show The Program? Currently in the middle of it. Highly recommended with a caution for some parts. Yes, definitely a caution for some parts. Because they are intense. That's the one I mentioned, Liz. It's really interesting show. The lead person in this is a fantastic person, and she said something which kind of resonated with me, which is true because we have a lot of trauma from being in the cult, of course. But sometimes some of the stuff that happened, not the really bad stuff, but some of the stuff that we did on a daily basis, you just have to laugh at because it's so absurd. It's so stupid.
Right?
Yes. And she actually said that. And I'm like, wow, that's exactly how I sometimes feel about certain subjects. You just got to laugh at how stupid it is. Because guess what? Scientology is kind of really stupid in the end, too. Like they have no clue what they're doing. Let's be honest. They're not the sharpest tools in the shed. No. Here we go. This one's for you, Brett, question, Liz, what is your favorite Pokemon based on looks? Not power.
So for me,
yeah.
No, I've never gauged on power. So for me, Mewtwo will always be my favorite because he was brought up in a lab. And that's kind of how I felt when I exited like Scientology as a kid. I felt like I had been in a lab, that everyone else on the outside was like staring in at us, just doing the, oh, look at what they've got. And
yep. That's awesome.
So
and you know what? I'm so happy that I actually know who you're talking about. I'm going to tell the kid that taught me all about Pokemon tomorrow that I actually knew what you were talking about. And that's amazing, though. I like how you connect that to your experience. That to me is is fascinating, because even with like Yoshi, moving fast and just getting after things is kind of how I've always been about things. And that's kind of, I guess, why, Yoshi having the speed element and the cool little shoes, is something that always appealed to me. I know it seems childish. We're both in our 40s, but there's certain things that just have, I don't know, that just mean something to us, and we're just happy.
We didn't have a childhood.
Yeah. Aphila, did you just say shagging, Sterling? Yes, I did say shagging fly balls. Now, for those of you non-Americans or not baseball fans, shagging a fly ball means catching fly balls in the outfield during batting practice. It does not mean shagging, but thanks for getting excited about that.
It's basically like gathering the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Retrieve it.
Thank you so much. I'm glad. See, look, that's why we understand each other, Liz. So here we go. What else do we have here? Okay. Whistleblowing Good Witch. I love that name. 3 cheers for root beer and fake cigarettes. Oh yeah. Yeah. You could actually blow out them, right? And then like a little dust came out, if I remember correctly.
Little dust of powdered sugar would come out.
We were so cool. We were so cool back then. Guys, there's not a better generation. I'm sorry, because I know a lot of our subscribers are a little on the, older than us, without being offensive to anyone. But I got to say the 80s was the best. I don't think we're ever going to have the 80s and the early 90s again. The 80s being the best, though. I still love 80s music. Do you listen to 80s music?
I listen to 70s music a lot. I'm pretty eclectic when it comes to that.
Okay.
I also listen to 90s music because Nirvana is my jam.
Oh, nice.
Like that one is my jam.
That's cool.
But I love the 80s. I love some aspects of it, because as much as we had really, a lot of us really had horrible memories. Some of us didn't. And I'm so grateful to hear that you didn't have a situation like mine, because a lot of us have had very similar situations that were, covered up by this religion.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to look at good memories, because a lot of times I have a lot of bad memories. And that's what I liked about our 10-minute conversation, is that we talked about so many good memories, like dropping the water balloon or the whale full of water off the roof.
Yeah.
And whenever AOLA was #1, and the movies on Friday night with pizza.
Yep.
Like those were great memories, guys. Like, for some of us that had like a lot of shit memories, those memories were like, I loved those. Those were good days.
And I think it's important to have both. A lot of the trauma I dealt with came when I was older, working at Golden Hour Productions with Dave Miscavige. And by with Dave Miscavige, I mean within his vicinity. I didn't work with him per se, but a lot of my trauma came at that later time. The pressure, the idea that you could lose everything in a snap of a finger at a whim because someone was upset at you was a lot of the trauma I dealt with. As a child, there wasn't a ton. I did talk about my child's RPF story, which lasted for about 48 hours, and I escaped that. As a child, that was probably the main one. But yeah, you know what, Liz, I agree. We do have trauma, and we focus on that because the story is important, and it gives people an idea of what we went through. But at the same time, you can't focus on that 100% of the time, because it's also about healing. And a lot of my content, I talk with people that I can relate to because I think it's a healing thing. I spend a lot of time not on the camera talking to different people about their families. There's one gentleman who is a family member of a family that was at Golden Air Productions that I knew really well. And just me telling him about my interactions with that family helps him resolve things in his own mind. So I think it's important to have both ends of the spectrum when it comes to that, and is one of the reasons why I do enjoy reminiscing a little bit, because we've already acknowledged that Scientology is a cult and it's horrible and it needs to lose its tax-exempt status. But this conversation, I never would have expected. I had no clue when I reached out to you and made that on my video, and I said I would love to talk to Liz sometime. I had no clue that you were an AOLA kid and we grew up together, essentially. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. And it's fascinating because you brought back...
And our parents basically followed each other.
Yes. And I completely forgot about the pizza parties. Completely. But I remember now calling my mom and asking, were the stats up? Are you guys having a pizza party tonight? Because I was so excited about it. It was such a cool thing to do with everybody. But no, that's amazing. Yeah. And let's definitely talk again about your leaving, because I want to know how that went for you, and get more details about that for sure. So back to 80s, but you can completely disagree with me on the 80s. I'm okay with that. I am a giant 80s fan. Pop rocks are awesome. I love that she says feels like we grew up together.
The dipsticks.
Yeah.
Dipsticks.
That's right.
The candy.
And I was a big fan of Nerds and Lemonheads.
Warheads.
Oh no, that was too much for me.
Like,
I could. Do you remember Gobstoppers?
Yes, I do.
Those were pretty amazing too.
Yes.
BMX and Mongoose. Oh my goodness. Oh, I can't believe you have that. That's amazing. Love the Warheads. That is so cool. That is so cool. Guys, BMX and Mongoose. If you haven't heard the story, Liz, I don't know if you saw that live when I talked with Mike about the time that we were mugged at LACC, and we left. Mike and I took off and left Justin with the three people and the crowbar. And Justin, my twin brother, escaped. And when we found him, he was crying. By the way, he's cried maybe 4 times in his entire life. And we were like, Justin, how did you get away? Because we went to find the campus police at LACC, and he goes, I told him that my cousin Wes had a mongoose. So basically, he told him that my brother that our cousin had a better bike than him. So they chased him the rest of the afternoon. Yeah, that worked, right? That's a whole story I'll tell sometime. But anyways, that's awesome. Thank you so much, whistleblowing good witch. I love that comment. What's this one? Noble Savage sent important questions about Bob. Oh no, I don't know how to find that. Yeah, don't know how to find that one, but we can check.
You can definitely, if someone sent an important message and you know what it is, you can definitely email me at savebobferris@gmail.com.
Yeah, and if you want to put it back in right now, Noble Savage, right now, we can check. Liz, would you mind looking at the live one? Because I'm in the starred ones. Would you mind looking at the live to see if that one pops up, and then we can star it?
Yeah, I'm at the very bottom now.
Will you do that? Max Manny McGee, dodgeball gave me PTSD. We actually used to play something called Warball in the courtyard of the cadet organization. Did you remember that, Liz, or were you too young?
I don't remember that, but I remember like learning a wannabe Foursquare.
Oh, okay, yes. Yeah, when they would paint them for us, yes. Okay. This, I just have to say, in Carnisol, I want my Mookie back. I have a feeling that's being referred to Mookie Betts, so you must be from Boston. I'm sorry. He is my favorite player on the Dodgers, hands down. I love that guy. So no, you can't have him back. Liz, are you excited about the Yankees this year with Juan Soto?
I'm excited for this. I am one of those hopefuls that I am a diehard fan. So do I believe that they're going to do better? Yes. But let's just hope that the captain can keep them going so that they don't mess up and get swatted out by the Oakland A's. Nothing against an A's fan in here, but usually when it comes to clench time, before any pennants or any of that stuff, they go against the A's. And for some reason, they don't talk to each other during that game. Like they think it's going to be an easy game, and the A's win.
Right.
Like they've knocked out the Yankees so many times. Yeah.
Yes, I know. And but they gave us one of the best plays in the history of baseball, which was the Derek Jeter flip on the overthrown Spencer throw from right field. Right? You remember that one? He tossed it to Posada. One of the best plays ever. But here I got a couple more. This is awesome. I got a couple more. I just starred real quickly. Okay, Laura Font. That name sounds so familiar. I was savage in dodgeball until 9th grade. Then all the boys got big. That's actually pretty funny. Yeah, look, if you're a baseball player, dodgeball comes natural. I remember getting upset at headhunters, but just sometimes that ball will sail and you have no control. Like that's the one part about kickball that I love too is you can throw the ball at the base runners, and I've gotten pretty good at that. So it's one of the enjoyable things about kickball. Liz, do you play kickball still or no?
I don't, because one of my knees is on its has had 8 knee surgeries, so I'm not trying to
No.
like I'm going to listen to my doctor this time, and I want to keep the leg.
Okay, don't do kickball then, because that's not that won't help. But I know what you mean by the way. The knees. Oof. Okay, here we go. And by the way, I do know who you are, Laura Font. Matt Elliott, MASP TV Canada. Good Witch, best BMX movie ever, called Rad. Do you remember that movie?
Rad. No.
Okay, you got to watch it. I actually, it's not even on Netflix. It's not, you can't find it online. So I actually ordered the DVD 2 years ago and watched it again. It is a classic 80s movies. It has the cheesiest dance scene ever on BMX bikes, but still it's a great movie. It's a wonderful movie. So if you haven't seen it, you'd like it.
Probably.
Mountain Tops, Sour Warheads. Ooh, sounds good. I'm not a big candy person anymore, but when I was a kid, man, oof. Skittles too. Liz, you like Skittles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, I love to taste the rainbow.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the candy. Yes. Yes, I do like Skittles too.
That was a good one. Witness. Hey, Witness, how you doing? You're amazing, Witness. The 80s were amazeballs. Yes, I agree. I think we're going to end it on this awesome one from one of my favorite people. It's Atkins in Texas. The bonds between you all are profound. Joy and sorrow there. I agree, Liz. I wish I had talked to you earlier, Liz. I really do. I'm not doing a whole lot of content right now. For some reason, January, February, March, and April always seem to be a clusterfuck of work for me. But I would be absolutely happy to do this with you again the next time I have available on a weeknight, if you're up for that.
Absolutely. Just let me know.
For sure.
This was fun to reminisce about good times. I like reminiscing about good times without, it doesn't all have to be be negative. People ask all the time.
Yeah, and we've told our negative stories. We've talked about that. But here's what I want to end it with this, if it's okay with you. I truly do. I really do hope that you can reunite with your father and you can have that discussion with him. I really, really hope. As much as I hope for myself, I hope for you on that, because it is so important to complete that family dynamic and have that time with them. And I really hope that happens for you. And you have my number now. You text me anytime, day or night. If there's something I can do that helps facilitate that, that is something I will do. Because I truly believe that in the end here, I want everyone to have what Mike Brown has with his mom now. And I think it's a truly amazing thing that he got it. And, he had to forgive her to get there, but he did. And I think that's an important part of it. So I really hope that happens for you. I really do, Liz.
Well, thank you so much. And I hope so too. And I hope so for you.
And if you're ever in LA, we're going to a baseball game. Hey, look, Dodger tickets are awesome. It's $700 for nosebleed and $4,000 for behind home plate. So let's do it. Liz, it's insane. Like I can go to one game a year. It's so expensive, especially now that we have Shohei Ohtani on there, which I'm excited to go see. Actually, you know what's crazy? The mailman that delivers to where I live gets tickets from another one of the neighbors. And because every time he shows up, I talk about the Dodgers with him. We're going to a game this year. So free tickets. Yay.
Hey, free tickets is better than a bloody used car.
Yeah, exactly. Especially there. But you should probably walk there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Because parking is like $100 there. Yes, by the way, hashtag free Bob Ferris. I love that. Not only because it's an 80s reference, but I love that. I think it's a fantastic thing. So yes, hashtag free Bob Ferris. I agree. Liz, yes, hashtag free Foster Tompkins too. But it doesn't sound as good as Bob Ferris. I'm sorry. That just sounds so good.
It all sounds good. Having him out all sounds good.
Liz, you're amazing. I'm so glad we got to do this. We'll do it again. I'm going to hit you with my outro. And here we go.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?